Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Boy, I sound like somebody really important when Sean introduces me. Don't you agree Sean is the best announcer? And I mean, he's not only an announcer, he's an engineer, but best announcer slash engineer in Southern California, if not all of California. But I'd like to welcome you back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, the Mighty Met. And this is Dr. Heckham. Remember, you can reach me at drheckham.com for a website. Now, the website is called drheckham.com. That's the quick one, the supposedly humorous one. And then the name of this radio show is The Educated Retirement, so you can look at www.theeducatedretirement.com also. And you know, we talked the last hour about the problems Bigfoot's going to be having with the price of lumber going up over 200%. So here's the phone number for us to discuss Bigfoot's plight, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about whether Bigfoot and UFOs are connected. Personally, I don't think so, but it is becoming a popular topic in the world of Bigfootses. Anyway, before we get back to some really great birthdays here, we were talking about the joys of having a Heckham. And, you know, I need to remind people that you can always make a payment on a reverse mortgage. And as my old buddy Martin Andelman once said, you can put the loan in forward, okay, and make any payment you want. And at any time you want, you can put it in neutral and make interest-only payments, which will really lower your payment, and your loan balance has no way of increasing. But even if your loan balance does increase because you put this into forward, into reverse, you know, given 6 to 12% appreciation rates in California these last 30 years or so, I mean, you got nothing to worry about. So, you know, you can make any payment for any reason you want. And many of those reasons, you can buy insurance to help pay off the house when it's time. You can, even for the more mass affluent, and I used to be massive, but, you know, now I'm not massive nor affluent. But there are such things as irrevocable health trusts, health insurance trusts, things like that you can fund. And if you're not in that category, if you're not mass affluent with several million hanging around, then you can easily buy health insurances. Some of these health insurance policies it's like a health insurance rider that's on top of a life insurance policy, so you've got it covered from both sides. You've got your life insurance taken care of, and God forbid if you should need more health care, you've got that covered also without burdening your family. So we've covered putting it in forward, putting it in neutral. You can also put it in reverse. So that's that. So with that, we're going to go back to our nostalgic kind of part of the show. And we are going to go to, let's see, and some of these people are very well connected to each other, as you probably will figure out real soon here. And I think we are now on Robert Zemeckis, right? We haven't skipped anybody, correct? I've got to ask the station producer because she's a little more cognizant of the Earth rotating than I am. So Robert Zemeckis, 1952, just a kid, American film producer, director and screenwriter, and I often associate him with the other two that we talked about, Spielberg to some indirect point and to Lucas directly. So Robert Zemeckis, I like that name, Zemeckis, was born in Chicago. He said that there was no art in his family. I find that hard to believe. You find art wherever you look around. I see art everywhere unless I'm looking in the mirror. Anyway, no books, no theater. The only thing this is what he said, I had that was inspirational was television. So how do you like that, television people? He said, you hear so much about the problems with television, but I think that it saved my life. So he loved television and was interested in using his parents' 8mm movie camera. He started off by filming family events and went on to use stop motion, so, another Harryhausen, work and special effects. He learned about film school through an episode of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So how do you like that? So I guess that's another thing for Karnak. That's a question for Karnak, is where did Zemeckis find out about film school? His parents disapproved of the idea of film school and learning about directing. He said they would sit there and say, don't you see where you come from? You can't be a movie director. He said that he had to pursue those things in spite of them. Robert worked, I wonder how long they lived, or, to see what he was able to accomplish, since he's one of the most accomplished directors working in Hollywood or in the business at all. So Robert worked as a film cutter and edited commercials for NBC News during a summer break. How come I couldn't get a job like that? But anyway, he transferred to USC School of Cinematic Arts in Los Angeles, same place that Lucas went, but Lucas was probably a little bit before, and the same place that Spielberg was not accepted to, where he was disappointed in the programs they were made of. He said they were made of a bunch of hippies. Okay, well, so be. Thank goodness for the hippies we had. Anyway, and was an embarrassment to the university. That's what he said. Well, I guess he's a little uppity, huh? He met Bob Gale, and the two hit it off and decided they wanted to make Hollywood movies and were not interested in the French New Wave like I have been and others. They were interested in Clint Eastwood, James Bond, and Walt Disney. One does not preclude the other. You can be interested in all of that and French New Wave and Italian stuff, at the same time. Anyway, excuse me, he wasn't listening to me, and he's still not. He won a Student Academy Award at USC for his film A Field of Honor and came to the attention of Steven Spielberg. Zemeckis had trouble finding work in the early 1980s, and he and Gale kept busy writing scripts for other directors, even though some did not end up getting made. Well, that's pretty normal. He was jobless until he was hired by Michael Douglas, the producer, to direct Romancing the Stone, which starred Michael along with Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito. First, let me show you a picture of Mr. Zemeckis. I think I've seen pictures of him before. He kind of looks, I don't know. Does he remind you of anybody?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of, what's his name in it? Who was in he was in Dark City and that TV program, the son of what's his name? Come on.
I don't know.
Come on. He was in that spy drama for years on television. Dark City, he was one of the two main characters.
You're talking about...
Yes, I'm talking about... Well, we might think of it.
Think about it.
Okay. Romancing the Stone. There we go. Special.
Kiefer Sutherland?
Kiefer Sutherland, yeah. Take a look at that picture again and tell.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, he's a little heavier
Picture, yeah.
all the way around, but
But
yeah, he's older now, and so am I. Romancing the Stone. I loved that movie when it came out.
I do too.
Haven't seen it in a long time, but you know, Zemeckis definitely made a name for himself. So Kathleen Turner, Danny DeVito. Following was Back to the Future and the sequels. But I love Back to the Future. We got all of them, but here's number 3. I kind of like number 3 too because of the Jules Verne thing at the end, and this was a Western, and I'm not that big a Western person overall, but I really like this a lot. And I really think that Christopher Lloyd had a lot to do with the success of this franchise. I mean, Christopher Lloyd and the, what's the car? Oh, you know what? We should have brought that car out to show that Samuel made for us, the DeLorean. But in any case, there we go. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Great movie. And I think I mentioned on the show maybe a year ago or less that I went to see this not too much before the lockdown at the Los Angeles Theater, which is one of the most beautiful theaters ever built. Was built in 1928, I think, by what's his name and what's her name. Yeah, we know. It's just you know, I like to show my old age so that people out there don't think they're all alone. The Tramp. What was?
Yeah. Just put some movies.
Yeah, we just put the movies away from last week or whatever. Charlie Chaplin built the theater for his own, you know, to show his own movies and whatever. But it was really wonderful to see it in that old theater because it has to do with old Los Angeles and the building of the freeways. And Christopher Lloyd again, yep. And then Forrest Gump, which was the top grossing film of 1994. And there you go. Forrest Gump is still wanting to know which one to take out of the box of chocolates. And do we have anything that's chocolate? Now, you know what I discovered after maybe 20, 25 years? Chocolate-covered raisins. My God, are they good. Yeah, we do have that dark chocolate bar. I'm now hungry for chocolate. But there you go. There's Forrest Gump. And life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, that's true. But Zemeckis picked some good chocolates out of there. So he directed 17 films and produced over 46. He wrote for Kolchak, the Night Stalker. And do you remember his, we talked about Kolchak quite a bit when it was Darren McGavin's birthday. Love this show. Again, I said last week, 2 of my favorite television shows of all time only ran for 1 year. Tells you something about my taste, but sometimes it takes time. Kolchak, the Night Stalker. There's the series. And these were actually, there's 2 movies, and they're both on here. The Night Strangler and the Night Stalker. And both of these movies were television movies, and they came on before the series. Could you see if that says anything on any of these about Zemeckis, if he wrote any of those real quick? His first professional credit for him and Bob Gale was that, Kolchak, the Night Stalker. So a short list of Zemeckis films. Okay, 1941, Romancing the Stone, which he was the writer and director. Film was nominated for Academy Award for Best Editing. Back to the Future, 1985, which he was director and writer, won Academy Award for Best Editing. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I'd love to watch tonight. 1988, and that one he was director, of course. So that one won 4 Academy Awards: Best Visual Effects, no kidding; Best Film Editing, yeah; Best Sound; and Special Achievement Academy Award for Richard Williams, the animator. So isn't it about time that Zemeckis won his own Academy Award for Best Director? Forrest Gump, 1995. He was the director, and that one won 6 Academy Awards. Best Picture, Best Actor Academy Award for Tom Hanks. Best Director, finally, for Zemeckis. And Best Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best Effects. So Contact was 1997. This was never one of my favorite films. A lot of people love it. I'm really happy it got made, and that it was made from the book written by
Arthur C. Clarke.
No? By Mr. Cosmos.
Sagan.
Carl Sagan, who I really used to follow and like a lot. So one of the movies of the decade, it says. So, but here it is, and love these. And still want to get out to New Mexico to see these this array of radio telescopes. Okay, Contact was 1997, and Academy Award for Sound Mixing. The Polar Express, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was so cool, the way they did the animation to look like those real people. Let me open that up. Yeah, this cover is, I don't think this translates well on the radio, but you can see it's kind of 3D. And then this. Now let me see. Nope, we don't have the glasses in here. Do we have the glasses somewhere?
We do.
We do, okay. So this is the old-fashioned 3D where you roll the 2-color glasses. I wish they would even give us that. 3D was really coming in strong, and then there became 2 or 3 different varieties of it, and people got confused, and then it just went away. I wish it would come back. I love 3D, and I'd love to see it back in the mainstream once again. But Polar Express is extremely entertaining, and nominated for 3 Academy Awards, and now we've got some more people that we can talk about. Is David Bryan the last one? It is, huh?
Yeah, honorable mentions.
No, that's not an honorable mention. That's a real one. Okay, so David Bryan is a Scottish-American songwriter, singer, filmmaker, and lead singer for the Talking Heads. Now, I love Talking Heads. I wish they were still talking, but they're not. But in any case, let me have a slow coffee here. In any case, I really appreciate David Bryan. He did more than just be the lead singer. He was like the lead influence and the lead creator. And let me show you a picture of him right away. That's not him on the cover there, is it? I don't know. Anyway, there he is, with his head tilted sideways. Now, I don't think he was hard of hearing and needed that ear in the air, but he was a little strange when it came to portraying himself. He had Asperger's disease, and that's kind of a variation, I guess, of autism, but it's quite a bit different. I know some other people with it. I know some people with autism, and I think in this case it worked to his favor. He thought of things, he delved into things that the rest of us probably would not have. So he was born in Scotland, and later his family moved to Canada, then to the United States. Before high school, Brian already knew how to play the guitar, the accordion, and the violin. And he was rejected from his middle school's choir because he was too off-key. Speaking of off-key, when, what's his name, the trumpet player, bring me that record, will you?
Chet Baker?
Yeah, Chet Baker sings, he's off-key, but we love it. It's in that same pile. I don't know if you know Chet Baker. If you're older like me, you obviously do. He started out being a great-looking guy, and then he ended up being drugs and booze, and he ended up looking pretty ugly and fell out of the fourth-story window of a hotel somewhere in Europe, in France, I think, and died. But as far as being off-key, I think David Bryan, I think that really helped him also. So it's on top of the candy counter there. So he was rejected from his middle school. But remember all the other rejections we've been talking about, especially Steven Spielberg in USC, and how he didn't take it that badly and has actually helped out USC in so many other ways since then. He would constantly play his phonograph from age 3. That's the instrument I play. Oh, just so you're reminded of Chet Baker. This is, I got this fairly lately. This is an old record, but it's been reissued as a tone poet. It is wonderful. I mean wonderful. And yes, that's what he looked like when he was younger. And he sings just about a little like a half tone off, and it's kind of charming and disarming. So highly recommended record, whether you get the old one. The new one is starting to get scarce, so pick it up before it becomes a $1,000 record, because records are just going through the roof these days. So David played his instrument. That's the instrument I play the best, and that is the stereo. So he played the phonograph from age 3 and played the harmonica from age 5. And as an older adult, he realized himself that he had Asperger's and said that music was his way of communicating when he felt he couldn't do it face to face. And, so it basically, his Asperger's disease not only saved his life, but made him a real creative genius that I think we all know. Talking Heads sold so many records, and let me show you a couple of them before we go to our half-past break. Sounds from True Stories, okay?
That's a solo, I think, right?
I'm being told that's a promo.
Solo.
Yeah. It is. It's a promo. It's bits and pieces of all of these. Not that I expect you to see them, but you can see these are all David Bryan produced projects. All right. Talking Heads, we got a sticker here. And what's our sticker say? 1977. Oh, for in-store record story, for being played, promo copy. All right. Let's see. Front. Back. Let's see if this is a white label. I don't remember. I was going to say keep some of these out to play, but I can't play them now because my stereo, my amplifier went up in smoke. That's the inside. And I usually don't keep these paper inside things. They're not that great. But no, it's not a white label. But it's still a promo copy. In any case, guess what we have to promo? We have to promo the station because it's 4:30. But you know what? I'll be back with more talking heads, and I'll be another head that does some talking. We don't know what I'll be talking about, but I'll be talking. So here's our, we'll go off with that one, and we'll come back with this one, and we'll let Sean take it away. But please don't you go away. We'll be back real soon. Thank you so much. Nice music. You know, when we signed off, and I don't have a guest this week because one canceled, but he's coming back. So I'm doing some more talking than I normally do, and I hope that's okay with you people. And we left talking about one of my favorite covers, maybe one of them of all time. This is called The Lady Don't Mind. So I don't know whether the lady do mind or the lady don't mind. This is a really soft cover. I wonder, this must be a European import, and that's okay. I can't read it. Says it down there in black on a green background. There's no way I'm going to read it. Anyway, give me back, David Bryan. Okay, so be it. So again, music with Asperger's allowed David Bryan to do things face to face with other people that he could not do without the music. So shows you how important music can be. In fact, shows you how important art can be. This is another cover that is a little less exciting, but it definitely pops out at you. So, Fear of Music. There it is. This is a much heavier one. Stop Making Sense. This I remember from lots of times. Just looking at that. Also available on cassette and compact disc. So this came out in that period of time when all was available. Then everything went to compact disc, and now it's all coming back to vinyl again, luckily. Slippery People, Swamp, Girlfriend is Better, Burning Down the House, Once in a Lifetime. Great songs on that. And picture disc. Do you have any picture discs? I do. I got a whole bunch of them. I don't always play them a lot. Oh, look at this. This turns on here. And the other side is like that, and if I opened it up, it would be the same thing. You would see, I'm not going to open it up, I could, but you know, you're not going to see anything more than you do right here. I've got a lot of picture discs. I don't always play them. I'll collect it. I'm a collector, so I think a lot of them are just for great fun. And so that's it. Now, David Bryan, he started his music career in high school, in the high school band in 1972. He attended the Maryland Institute College of Art and eventually moved to New York City, where he and his good friend Chris France contemplating putting together a new band. And they founded the Talking Heads in 1975. And were signed to Sire Records, S-I-R-E Records, and released. Are those Sire Records that we had there? Just checking. And released 8 studio albums. Bryan announced the band was breaking up in '91, and they had a brief reunion for the Sax and Violins album before he went solo again. He partnered with choreographer Twyla Tharp. I'm sorry, I always pronounce her name wrong. Twyla Tharp in scoring music for a ballet that appeared on Broadway, The Catherine Wheel. The Catherine Wheel, it was called. He was responsible for the stage design and choreography of documentary Stop Making Sense, Stop Making Sense. David's work was used extensively on soundtracks, several of them, one of which is The Last Emperor, which won an Academy Award for Best Original Score.
Here's the booklet.
Oh, which one did that come with?
That came out of this. Stop Making Sense.
Okay, give me the Stop Making Sense had this little booklet in it. I seem very familiar with that picture, so it may not have been that long ago that anyway, nice booklet. Let me show you a couple of the pictures. There's our man. There's some more. You like Talking Heads, Sean? Well, he's out there somewhere. He's probably listening to a Talking Heads
Yes, I do.
album. Oh, there you go. But he really helped out in a lot of soundtracks. Now, I'll go to this one first. I love this soundtrack. I love this movie. I believe there's a 4-hour version of it that's been put out since. And the thing about this, though, is there wasn't any music written directly for this. It's just some of the better hits from some of these people. We've got Depeche Mode, Elvis Costello, R.E.M., Talking Heads, Lou Reed, Julie Cruz, and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds and Can. I like those groups. Crime in the City Solutions. I like those too. I like them more than U2, which is a lot more popular. But anyway, Until the End of the World, filmed by Wim Wenders, who has done so many really good ones, including that one, speaking of music, the in Cuba with
Buena Vista.
with Ry Cooder, the Buena Vista Social Club, and man, that's great. But he definitely did a bunch of music for another film which I thought was amazing. Long but amazing. I love this film, and I haven't seen it in a while. But when that cricket comes out of that little gizmo at the end, I do have tears in my eyes. And I think this was just wonderfully made by, what's his name? And right on the tip of my tongue. Oh, Bertolucci. Yeah, Bernardo Bertolucci. And of course, this goes right along with Last Tango in Paris. No, it doesn't. But it's another so memorable type film that, you need to see it if you haven't already seen it. We've got some honor. Oh, Brian initiated his own internet radio station, just like we have here. Radio David Bryan in 2005 released a sketchbook of his tree drawings that looked more like diagrams, since he's also a visual artist, and has been a speaker at the TED Talks conferences. Well, that's, if you can't talk face to face, that's at least he could talk at a TED Talk. And you know that I have had Bill Morris on my show, which I think I mentioned earlier in this very show that I need to give him a call again. Bill Morris gave a TED Talk and teaches over at UCI. We got some honorable mentions. This guy right here, Bobby Darin, who died much too young. There he is, Bobby Darin. And I don't have any pictures of him when he was older, because he just didn't get older. Remember Mac the Knife? Splash Splash, Beyond the Sea. I love Beyond the Sea. They used him, I think, in that, what was it, the first or the second X-Files, which is called, of season 1, and that episode was called Beyond the Sea. So, an American singer and songwriter. He started off as a songwriter for Connie Francis. His songs won worldwide fame. And as an actor, he actually won a Golden Globe Award for his film Come September with Rock Hudson, Gina La Brigida, and Sandra Dee. He starred in 7 films, and he passed away at 37 due to heart ailments. Also, on this day, was born in 1969, again, just a kid, Kate Blanchett. And she starred in 70 films. Boy, she's going crazy. One very most notable was the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I believe she was in all 3 of them. So I'll just show the one, but this is, oh no, this is only Fellowship of the Ring. That's because this is the extended version. You should get the extended version. There's a 4K version out now that some people say is too good and takes some of the magic away. I think you know what I'm talking about. But I'd like to, I don't have it yet, but I would like to get it. And of course, probably one of my favorite composers wrote the music for that. Speaking of composers, don't we have another one? We were Korngold. We were going to talk about. Okay, so The Aviator she was in 2004. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I almost said something I shouldn't say on radio. Sofia Coppola is the American screenwriter and daughter of Francis Ford Coppola, who directed 8 films, including some really good ones. Lost in Translation, 2003, screenplay and directed, 1 Academy Award for Best Writing, Best Screenplay. The Virgin Suicides, which I watched, and that was not exactly a great day, but so be it. Here you go. And I'm going to get for you, if you hold on just a moment. Don't go away. I see you trying to go away. Don't go away. I know we have some information here on Mr. Korngold, correct? Didn't we talk about...
That's because
he did that? Okay, it's not his birthday, huh?
No, connected with this film.
Yeah, and I know we talked about how it was. Where is it? We were going to talk about John Williams.
Oh, because of the Star Wars?
And John Williams it may have been something I lost here, but that wouldn't be the first thing I lost, would it be? In any case, there is a connection I was going to talk about. I just can't find the connection right now. But that's okay. I'll keep looking for it. But the connection had to do with...
Who did the music for that?
I know, but where did that come from? Having to do with John...
That's on this day.
John... oh, really? Okay. Well, you know what? That could be. In which case, it's me. But listen to all this talking I'm doing. My God. I'm taking up too much space and time. I might as well be dancing to Twyla Tharp. Or dancing like a chicken. That's right. Chicken Day. So let me get to exactly where that is, because I had lost track.
And look, this is a picture
Of who?
Korngold.
Oh, okay. So, you know what? On this day in history, you know what happened on this day in history? Other than me losing my place on my script? Griffith Park Observatory opened, formally dedicated its planetarium on May 14th, 1935. Now, the first date I took my wife on was for one of those laserium shows, which was in the planetarium with planets, comets, all kinds of stars, and laser shows. So Griffith Observatory is one of the only major facilities in the world that still produces exclusively live planetarium shows. Now, why would others not be doing that, since it's so much fun to go to a planetarium show? Over 100,000 shows since 1935. And I think we're talking about movies here. Lots of movies were filmed there or part of there. The Terminator, The Rocketeer, which I haven't seen in quite a while, Rebel Without a Cause, and La La Land are just a few of the many movies that have been filmed at the observatory. And this still is one of the best places to view the Hollywood sign. There's a couple other places. Hollywood and Highland, that shopping center, that's a pretty good place also to view the sign and to have a bite to eat, snack, and walk right across the street, now that we can again, to the El Capitan Theater, which is the Disney theater, which has been brought back to its original glory. The Adventures of Robin Hood was released May 14th, that would be today, 1938. There we go. The Adventures of Robin Hood. And one thing I've seen this so many times, that what I love about it, and I'm not going to say more than anything else because there's a lot of good things about it, but what I love about it is the Technicolor. This was the Technicolor that was 3 strips, and I remember 2 movies more than any other where this really did shine. And this was one of them, and the other one is Wizard of Oz. And you really want to make sure you see this, that brings out the original 3-strip version. 3 strips means they had like 3 cameras going, one with each of the basic colors, and then put it all together later. The thing is that it was so much more vivid and alive than real life. And you know what? You go to the movies because of those kind of things. So this was a swashbuckler film from Warner Brothers and directed by Michael Curtiz, who directed 8,745 movies of theirs, including Casablanca, The Seahawk, Young Man with a Horn, and William Kiley, and starred Errol Flynn, Olivia de Havilland, Basil Rathbone, before the days of Sherlock Holmes, and Claude Rains. It was the most expensive film Warner Brothers had made up to that time. And again, it used that 3-strip Technicolor. So I know that this Criterion version showed it perfectly, and I'm sure that the DVD would do the same. So James Cagney, and this is something I only just learned, James Cagney was originally cast as Robin Hood, but walked out on his Warner Brothers contract. Can't you see him being upset at something and huffing and puffing away? I think he should have stayed there. I think he would have been very good. Errol Flynn has not always been one of my favorite guys, but I think he too was perfect in this film. So location work included Chino, California, Calabasas, and Busch Gardens in Pasadena. You know, there was the original Busch Gardens in this part of the world was in Pasadena. Some of it still exists, and you'd have to look up what's his name? Who is this? Visiting with Hugo Hauser, Hugo Hauser, to get to the bottom of that, because there's some beautiful areas. And then they opened it up more like they made it adjacent to their factory or their bottling or canning company. Well, not only canning but producing beer out in Northridge area, and then they added a lot of rides and things like that, and now that's gone also. And here we go. Here's Eric Korngold did the music, which gave him an Academy Award for Best Original Score. And it's great. Now, Korngold wrote so many other things. And when I used to listen to his score for King's Row, I used to think, boy, that sounds so much like John Williams, especially Star Wars and the first Superman film, if not a lot of other things. But composer John Williams subsequently said later that Korngold was his major inspiration in scoring the Star Wars films. So that is a very good thing for us to. That was kind of, I think, cool of me to bring up and to listen to. And let me move. I got to move some things over here. And I'm going to get right back to us here. Just give a little talk or two. An ad or two to isn't it time to learn how a reverse mortgage can work for you? And we need to get through those myths, and we're going to get through those myths in the next 6 minutes before I'm kicked off the air. That hook, I see it in the over here in the over the side. But you know why it's got such a bad reputation? And that bad reputation is definitely going away. But in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there were some not very good loans called reverse mortgages. Now, we don't really even call them reverse mortgages anymore. But back then, that's what they were called. They were not regulated by the government. And every bank had its own variety. Like 32 flavors. Now, oh yeah, that reminds me, I had a great hot fudge sundae last night, and maybe at home, and maybe we'll have another one tonight. We'll see. But many, if not most of those loans just were not very good. They would, these myths about the bank owning the company, owning your home, they never really did that, but they took, when they sold the home, when you passed away or whatever, they would only give the heirs 5% of the value or of the equity. And that, to me, that's just like, okay, then you might as well own the home. You might as well be right there. So the bank might as well have owned it. The truth is that a reverse mortgage, or a HECM as we call them, is the safest loan available. It's regulated, fully regulated by FHA and HUD. You remain the only owner of your home. The bank does not take any ownership or equity position. It's only a loan. I've said that a few times. And to me, I don't know why everyone 62 or older doesn't have one. It doesn't matter your position. This is not a loan, and it was never even invented. Now, those private loans I talked about different banks having, yes, those were made specifically as a last resort for people to be able to stay in their home. But then even like if you ended up owing more than the property was worth, then in many cases, the banks in those situations can take your home. So that's not the case now at all. So you only decide when to make payments, not the bank. You decide when to make payments and when not to. You're actually partnered with the bank because of the unbelievable. Your current loan is paid off by HECM Bank, your new loan, replaced with the reverse mortgage. You still own the home. You still owe the amount that you owed before, but the choice of making payments is now up to you, not the bank. You do not make a payment, big deal. The low interest rate is going to be added to the loan balance, and especially in California, if not most of the country. What's that going to do for your equity? Your equity is still going to increase. So appreciation usually, if not always, except for 08 and 09, but it did come back, appreciation outpaces the interest that's added to your equity. And that equity will continue to grow even with no payments. So something you need to look into. Doesn't mean you have to take it. It means it's something that you may want to look into. And with enough equity in your home, you'll receive a no-cost line of credit. No funds are moved. The bank simply is promising you access to this line of credit, whether you want it or don't want it. And I think we talked about some great uses on increasing the value of your family and of your legacy. So this line grows and is not connected to the value of your home. It is connected to interest rates as they change. So again, this serves as a hedge against rising rates, that is inflation, and lowering property values. Remember that the number one enemy of retirement is compounding interest and health care. Any payment you do make, penny for penny, goes right back into that line of credit. And with that, I will say good evening. I hope you enjoyed our little romp through, history mostly, and a little business here and there. And I want to thank Sean so much for being a part of this. Couldn't do it without him, ever. And want to say thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. And remember, Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. Take care of yourselves. It ain't over yet. Take care of yourselves. And we love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.